Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome to this session. So let's look at another area that also shows the role of a leader and how the brain, another element, the mirror neuron, how it helps and the role that it plays in how leaders have what they call contagious relationship with subordinates. And so the social brain, which is, and you remember what I said here, that there's what they call the big discovery. It was the social brain, this kind of secret weapon. So you need to know, what is this secret weapon that I'm talking about? So the leader's task, the leader's job, from this point of view, is to help subordinates get and stay in the flow. That state that they are their best, that they actually are their best, that they produce the best. How are you going to do that? You need to know, how do I do that as a boss? That is kind of a secret weapon. But I'm going to share that secret weapon to you. And there's a research background to that. And those who are medical doctors, who are medical students, or who were medical students, who have migrated maybe to banking, they will understand this part of the brain. But psychologists also do. Those who are emotional intelligent people, they also do. So the discovery came of this social brain when scientists started studying one brain. Scientists were studying one brain, one body, one person at a time. But they had to now move to two brain, two person, two body at a time. So it turns out that there were entire circuits of the brain that are designed like a neural radar to sense what is going on in other person's brain. It's like the mirror neuron in the brain mirrors. So an individual mirrors another person. And so we're going to be just talk briefly on this, about that brain. So what happened is that these scientists, they started studying two brains in two body and in two person. Just a minute, let me try and read some chat a little bit. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm saying some nice comments here about the issue of appraisal and all that. That's always a very heated topic. And I hope before we finish this series, we will be able to run a series on performance measurement from a research perspective. People used to say, "Macleish, are you an HR person?" I'm not. I am a researcher who is interested in people. So I research in leadership, emotional intelligence. I research in different areas, but not as an end in itself, but how they affect organizational outcomes. Those things that HR people are interested in, which is empowerment, commitment, satisfaction, organizational citizenship behavior, organizational justice, development. I want to know, how does leadership impact those organizational outcomes? And that is my core research. My core dissertation when I did my PhD was actually on the role of transformational leadership on employees' job satisfaction and organizational commitment. So I'm interested in those areas, but from a research perspective, not from at the end of the day, I'm not a proper, what you would call HR person, but I am interested in people's research. So I might be coming to you one day to say I'm doing a research on the role of EI on the performance. So it turns out that there was entire circuits of the brain that are designed like a neural radar to sense what is going on in the other person's brain and to lock in to that and to have a silent brain-to-brain conversation no matter what else is going on. And so it's good to understand. So in Italy, this research was actually done in Italy. So there were some Italian researchers. So what they were doing is that they took a monkey and they were looking at, a part of the brain that moves the body, and we're studying just one cell at a time. One day, they were looking at the brain cell that was, It was just active when the monkey raised his hand. So the cell will be active when the monkey raises its hand. Then one day, the cell started firing and the monkey was not moving. And so they were puzzled, they were shocked, and they were so amazed. Then they realized that it was a hot time. And they noticed that a lab science assistant had gone to get what you call a gelato. A gelato in Italy is like ice cream or yogurt, but it's a special kind of ice cream. And so what they noticed that when this lab assistant raises the gelato to eat it, they noticed that the monkey was also raising its hand. It was mimicking, it was mirroring what the lab assistant was doing. That was the discovery of what happens in us all the time. When everyone is with another person, it turns out that we have cells in our brain that are matching precisely what is going on in the other person. That is essential for us to understand the relationship between leadership and followership, leadership and subordinate. So the mirror neuron creates a brain-to-brain bridge. And this study came to when scientists started studying two persons, two brains, two bodies, rather than one person, one brain, one body. And they begin to understand that certain behaviors are contagious. And so when a leader does certain things, you find out that subordinate tends to do that. You see that with parents at home. In England, you find out that, I remember an uncle of mine who schooled in England at the time was telling us that when he got to England, he went to Oxford. And they were asking him, he went to study law. He was the Inns of Court in Oxford. And people were asking him, is your father a lawyer? He said no. Is your grandfather a lawyer? He said no. Is your great-grandfather a lawyer? He said no. It's okay. How come you are studying law? And so for them, if you are a son of a technician, an electrician, a plumber, everybody should follow that track. If you are the son of a footballer, that is what they believe in the 50s and in the 60s. And so they find it strange that you are the son of nobody and you are coming to England, Oxford, for that matter, to study law. And it was very strange to them. They say, how come? And people still believe that in certain society, particularly in aristocratic society, that certain persons should study certain courses. A professor's son should become a professor. The son of a doctor should become a doctor. The son of an accountant should become an accountant, like the Daphinones, all children and dad accountant. So those are the things that people, and so they were trying to understand, why was this so? Why is it that if you put two people together, husband and wife, they begin to look like the same, as if they were born by the same, they were given birth to by the same parents. So that is what, so the mirror neuron creates a brain-to-brain bridge that senses movement, emotion, intention. It is why emotions are contagious. Emotions are contagious. Why? Because of the mirror neuron. Leaders must be very conscious of what they do, how they are perceived by their subordinate. So the mirror neuron is a neuron that fires both when a person acts and when the person observes the same action performed by another. Emotions are contagious. We are constantly sending and receiving. We are constantly sending and receiving. So what is the message for leaders? What is the learning point here? Particularly at this time. What is the message? No, we've spoken about the cortisol, the stress hormone that is always on when you are short of it. How the accumulation of stress, because you need to know the difference between mood and emotions. A mood is more of, temporary. Because, but emotions and a mood, most time, mood cannot be attached to anything. So, but if you look at what I explained, the amygdala linked to the hippocampus, who is the brain memory. So whenever something happens, somebody slaps you, you want to slap back rather than give the person the other jaw. If somebody curses you, if somebody abuses, somebody just is, you thought that the person was hissing at you. That memory that you have, oh, that was how Dele did it. That was how Johnson did it. is the emotional brain that is work, your understanding. But how do you get the best from your subordinate? How to get them to the flow state? You need to get them where employees perform the best is where they are really at their best. So what the leaders need to learn, there is a special caveat to leaders. It is very important. Every leader that is listening to this webinar, there's a special caveat to you, because it is human nature that people pay most attention to and puts most importance on what the most powerful person in that group says or does. The leader is the center, for better, for worse. For those of us who pay close attention to American politics, you can see what plays today in America, those values that Americans are known. For those who understand the politics of the Republicans and the Democrats, who understand what Republicans stands for as conservatives, what the Democrat stands for as the liberals. If you look at the Republican today, the Donald Trump Republican, who before used to be the defender of the American Constitution, how today they have all become Donald Trump's Republicans. And so how leaders behave is very critical. And in every organization, how leadership is. If you look at Nigeria today, you cannot be better than the leadership you have. Organization cannot be better than the leadership they have. It is not possible. And so when we say you have a secret weapon, that secret weapon I talked about, that social brain, that weapon to help your subordinate get into their better state of performance, that state that they are their best, where they feel at their best. We are talking about using the social brain skillfully, knowing that emotions are contagious. Knowing that emotions are contagious. If you have a boss who is a bully, most of the subordinates will be bullied. They will be bullying people in the organization. That is why it is important for HR to always pay attention to those things. So the key point for any organization is that whoever in that organization is the interface of the organization's people. Customer, client makes them feel better. So whoever is the interface of the organization, right, is the interface, it makes them feel better. The employees, the customer, they make them feel better about the leader, or it is really more than they feel about the organization. So sometimes, most times when people feel bad about the leader, and when you have a lot of leaders within an organization, people feel bad about, they generalize, they conclude that this is not a great place to work. What am I doing here? Some people join certain organization within 1 month. They say, what am I doing here? And they want to leave. So managing the emotional state of people is extremely important, from the highest level to the lowest level of leadership in every organization. Don't go. We need to share those 3 programs. And so it is good to have EI skills, but EI skill is not enough. You need other behaviors in your repertoire. You need other behaviors. You need transformational leadership behavior. You need authentic leadership. You need servant leadership. And you will still need more. Howard Gardner said, you need multiple intelligences. So thank you very much. And thank you for your time. And God bless you. And God bless Nigeria.